Welcome to the Road to Motherhood, where we talk about all things becoming a mom. And I'm super excited today because I have another fantastic guest, a dear friend of mine, Annie. Annie, welcome. Good to have you on the show.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So Annie, please let us know your name, how many children you have, the ages, and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Anne. My nickname is Annie, but Anne Nwakalor. I have one child and I am a photography curator and a writer.
Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. So before the camera started rolling, we were just talking, gisting. So we're just going to keep the flow going.
Yes.
All right. So if you can let us know a little bit about your conception story. We always start off talking about the conception phase. So what was that like for you and your husband? Did you want to have kids once you got married? Did you guys say, no, let's wait small, let's enjoy each other, and then move into the whole having children part? So what was the plan for you and how was it?
So the plan was 3 to 5 years. So we said that we want to, enjoy, we want to travel, we want to get to know each other because we knew the moment you have kids, the whole dynamic of your marriage just changes. So we said, let's just have our time to enjoy. So it was meant to be 3 to 5 years. And after 3 years, we were like, should we just try? And one thing as well, I was in a situation where people close to me were struggling to conceive and they were my age mates as well. So that was also playing on our minds, like let it not be that when we're ready, we can't have. So that's why when it got to year 3, we said, okay, we've tried now. We've been looking at each other's faces. Let's now look at someone else's face. And then that's when we decided
to go ahead. And how easy was conception for you both?
To be fair, it was quite easy.
Nice.
The moment that we said, let's just try, and then boom. It's just, my husband says that he's a sharp shooter. So just one shot and then boom.
Nice, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And I love that you said you guys waited for about 3 years. Reminds me of my husband and I and how we also waited a bit of time. So yeah, good to know that we're not the only ones who thought waiting was an option too.
Yes, but I understand for some people, like I have a sibling, she got married a bit older. So I know for her, boom, like as soon as the marriage was done, next thing I know, I was seeing bump 3 months later. I was like, what happened now? Like you couldn't even rest small. But to be fair, it's because, she was quite older, so she felt like she had to just do it quick. But I think for us, we were, we got married quite young. So that's why we had the liberty of time.
Okay. And I'm just smiling to myself because I'm like, I didn't even consider age at all. I knew that I wasn't the youngest per se, but
yeah, but you had the faith.
I just had the faith and the vision in my mind that it's not going to be immediately.
Yes.
So, yeah, but thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about pregnancy now. How was that experience? I'm always intrigued. What was that like for you? Did you have a sweet pregnancy, not so sweet? Did you go through any symptoms? Just share with us, let us know.
So my pregnancy was a mix of both. I wasn't vomiting, and I'm very grateful for that because when I'm not a good vomiter. I really struggle. So I didn't vomit. What I had was nausea. Okay. So I was very nauseous. I couldn't cook. The smell of meat would make me sick. So I stopped cooking meat. And it's so funny. It's really funny because one thing I stopped eating was chicken when I was pregnant. Until this day, if I eat chicken that's been microwaved, it doesn't taste well. Like it tastes really bad. And I always say to my husband, like, are you tasting something? He said, no. I said, since I had our child, I can't eat chicken that's been microwaved. So I don't know, it's like my taste buds.
For chicken that's been microwaved?
That's been microwaved specifically. But when I was pregnant, I couldn't eat chicken at all. I couldn't eat Titus fish. Till this day, I don't eat Titus fish anymore. I don't eat Titus fish. My saving grace was orange juice. I was drinking a lot of orange juice because it was helping me with the nausea. But apart from that, it was okay. I had pelvic pain. Okay. Very bad pelvic pain. So it's called pelvic girdle syndrome. Okay. That's what they call it, the technical name. So I couldn't walk long distance. So there was one time I went to do my hair. It's a 10-minute walk from my house. On my way back, I called my husband to come pick me, that I can't walk anymore. So he had to drive. It was like, I think I did 1 meter. I said, I can't do it anymore. So things like walking was a struggle. I had to go to physiotherapy so that they can help me. But that was mostly it, actually. And I don't know how much details we can go into, but
we can go into detail as much as you'd like to share.
I had very itchy nipples. I know that's a very normal, but I really struggled with that. That was like, I really struggled with that one. Yeah.
You didn't see it coming.
I didn't
It took you
see
by
it
surprise.
at all. I was so confused. So that was another symptom.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. So it's interesting, Annie, because it feels like you said, it was a few symptoms. So it wasn't a completely unbearable experience for you. Man, what is it like being one of those that I like to say are potentially God's favorites? Because it's like God took the symptoms from pregnancy and said, for those of you in my books, people come and really enjoy them well.
Honestly,
So you had the nausea, right? But you didn't have the vomiting.
I didn't.
And I literally recall vomiting like I felt like my life out on a consistent basis. So I'm actually really impressed when I hear people that didn't have that experience. I'm like, man, thank God.
You know what it is? God doesn't give us more than what we can handle.
But I can't handle that much now. I think maybe there's a confusion happening up there because I think I'm on the other side.
My friend, she had HG, what's it called?
Hypergravy, something. I think that's actually what I had.
Yeah.
Because I was almost admitted. So I think that's actually what I had.
She was admitted many times. They put her on a drip. And I was just looking at her. I said, how? And I said, gosh, I can't imagine going through that. I don't know what I would do.
It's well, even in the world, how I like to say it. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's talk about the childbirth experience, delivering your daughter. So, and please share her name because I love her name. Please let the audience know.
Her name is Kesandu. Then her middle name is Tolani. So Beautiful. My husband is Igbo, I'm Yoruba. So Kesandu means spread life in Igbo, and then Tolani means deserving of wealth. And, we believe in, speaking life through names.
Absolutely.
So the wealth bit is very important because we want, and it's very funny because my middle names as well, it has, so Adishola Bomi, I think that means the crown is ready for wealth or something like that. So I don't know, I just have this obsession with wealth. And I finally realized, my uncle told me, that's what your name means. So it's very interesting how, we gave her that name, not knowing that my middle name also has something wealth. Like that. Yes.
So that means you are connected to wealth now. No long story there. All right. So how was the childbirth experience for Kesandu? Did you do a C-section? Did you do a vaginal birth? If vaginal, did you do epidural? What was that experience like for you?
So I had a C-section. It was an emergency C-section. So, my story is very long. I'm sure we will get to it. Absolutely. But I ended up having an emergency C-section. So they gave me we call it lumbar junction, but I think it's an epidural, essentially, where they put the thing in your spine.
Okay.
I received many injections that day because of the circumstances of which I birthed her. But yeah, it was C-section.
Okay, so it was an emergency C-section.
It was.
And how was the process? Was it smooth as expected? Were there any complications, anything that you didn't expect that shocked you?
Thankfully, it was smooth. However, her heart rate was dropping rapidly because when they gave me the news that they have to remove her because she's in distress, that's when I panicked. Okay. So what happened is they delayed giving me that news, and I'm grateful that they did. But when they gave it to me, her heart rate was just dropping. So the midwife that was with me, she was panicking because what they do, they call out the heart rate, and it was getting lower and lower. So it got to the point where she was shouting.
The midwife was shouting?
The midwife was shouting. As they were wheeling me to the theatre, she was raising her voice like, guys, come on. So it was very much, boom, go to the theatre, put that thing in my spine, slam me on the bed and just get her out.
Bring her out.
Yeah.
And thank God she came out safely. So is there anything else about the childbirth experience you want us to be aware of? Anything, again, that maybe it was even a highlight in the midst of all this, a highlight or something that you'd look back and you're like, maybe this could have been done differently?
To be fair, they did the best they could because of the circumstances that happened. What happened is I made a birth plan, so I thought I was going to have a vaginal birth. So I made this amazing plan. I said that I want candles, and I want a birthing pool, and I want soft music playing, and I want, none of that happened. Nothing in my birth plan happened. And it's funny because when they took her out and they were wheeling me to recovery, I looked at the nurse and I was like, I made a birth plan. And she just looked at me and laughed. She was like, well, you're here now. So
surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Okay, so it was the birth plan that didn't go the way you expected.
It didn't.
So that was a surprise for you.
Yeah, so I think my advice would be, sometimes things change. Maybe not everything in your birth plan will happen. Nothing in my birth plan happened at all, apart from the fact that I gave birth. That's the only thing that happened. But yeah, just be flexible.
Okay.
Especially if it's your first, because this was my first. I think when you have your second, you're like,
yeah, you already know that flexibility is required.
Exactly. But with your first, sometimes you're so like, no. Like I remember in my birth plan, I said that I don't want to be induced. And I don't want any instruments. I remember saying all of that. But then I had her and I was like, okay, it is well. I know for my second one, if they have to induce. But I think also it's important to ask questions as well.
Yes.
Sometimes, I think it's called white coat syndrome. When you see your doctor and they're telling you something, you're like, I have to do what they're saying. You should ask questions as well. You should be like, okay, why? Does this need to be done? You know what I mean?
I agree.
Ask questions, because sometimes, I mean, I didn't give birth in Nigeria,
And you gave birth in the UK.
I gave birth in the UK, and how it is, sometimes it's in, out, in, out. They have a number of women that they need to deliver babies. So sometimes it can be to the point where their focus is just getting your baby out. They're not actually, doing things, I wouldn't say doing things properly, but
the additional care, bedside manner and things like that.
Stuff like that. And also sometimes if you're taking long for your cervix to open, they'll say, C-section. You probably don't need a C-section, you just need time. But because they're looking at their schedule, they have lunch break, they need to clock out. They're saying, it'll be quicker if we just do C-section. So things like actually being like, hold on, do I need to have a C-section? What are the reasons? What's the situation? But
yeah, I fully agree. I think we don't ask enough questions many times. Even when thinking of my own experience with childbirth, right? I remember that they had induced, but till today I can't tell you what they put inside me. Like I don't know what they put in that drip. I just know that I saw them injecting something, but I should have asked, by the way, what is this? Let me know what's entering my body. So I agree with you. I think we need to be more courageous to ask more questions to our medical personnel. Thank you so much for sharing that. So now let's talk about the next phase of the story. Because sometimes we like to stop at the delivery and the childbirth and we say, that's it now, the child has come, the story has finished. But no, there's a story of postpartum. What happens after your child is here or your children are here? So what was postpartum like for you? How was that experience? From breastfeeding to everything else.
For me to tell you postpartum, I have to go to the beginning.
Please go back.
Of what happened. Basically, my daughter was born extremely premature. So there's different levels of premature. There's premature, which is before 37 weeks. So from 34 weeks, if you give birth from 34 weeks, but before 37 weeks, your child is premature.
Okay.
But there's extremely premature, which is before 34 weeks.
Before 34 weeks.
Before 34 weeks. So maybe you give birth at 30 weeks. That's classified as extremely premature.
Okay.
I gave birth before even 30 weeks. So what happened was I was doing my thing and I noticed that she was missing her movement patterns.
Okay, after she came out?
Before, sorry. Before. So now I'm going to the beginning. For me to tell you how postpartum was, I need to go to the beginning. So what happened was when I was pregnant with her, it got to the point where I noticed that she wasn't moving as much. She had a schedule. She would move at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m.
Okay, so you knew her
very
movement.
punctual.
Okay.
She did her 10 a.m. She missed her 2. That was when alarm bells started ringing. She moved faintly at 3, 4 she missed.
Okay.
So immediately I called the hospital. I said, I'm noticing reduced movement. So they said I should come in. So I came in, they put me on an ECG. And they were like, her heart rate is low, but it might be the machine. That's what they kept on telling me. They said they've been having problems with the machine, that they'll do it again. They did it again. Her heart rate was dropping. They said it's the machine. So they told me to go and walk around for an hour and come back.
Okay.
So when I went and I walked around, I looked at my husband and I said, something's wrong. He said, no, everything's fine. But in my mind, I knew something was wrong. So I came back, there was a doctor there. And they were like, we're just going to check you again. They checked again. It was low. They said, it's probably the machine. I'm sure you're going home today, but we're going to move you to the birthing suite. That's what they said. I looked at my husband. I said, I'm finished. I said, something is up. And lo and behold, the truth is, from that first ECG they knew something was wrong, but they couldn't tell me.
Okay, they didn't want to put you into panic.
They couldn't put me into panic. So that's why they kept on saying it's the machine, it's the machine. It wasn't the machine. They moved me to the birthing suite. They put me on an ECG. They were like, you'll be fine. They left the room. That's how the head nurse came in. She said, look, this is the situation. Your baby's in distress. We have to do an emergency C-section.
The head nurse came and
The
told
head
you
nurse
directly?
came in
Okay.
and told me. I think she was tired of whatever these people were doing. So she came, she said, look, this is a situation. We're going to have to do an emergency C-section. So that's what happened.
Okay.
So after now, they did the emergency C, they had to inject me with, I forgot the magnesium for her brain.
Okay.
They had to inject me with something for her lungs because she was very early. So they had to do all of that so that when she comes out, she'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then I got rushed to the theatre, etc., etc. So that's what happened. When they took her out, I couldn't do skin to skin.
Okay, as in putting her on your skin immediately?
I couldn't do it.
She came out, okay.
They had to put her on a ventilator so she can breathe, and they wheeled her away. And that was my experience.
Okay.
I got to see her for 2 seconds. They said, look, your baby's there. I looked. She looks like a fetus. I was like, what's this? Which kind of baby is this? I just looked at her.
You're like, you look so small.
I was like, this girl is tiny. And then they wheeled her away. So postpartum was hard because we were in hospital for close to 3 months.
So almost 3 months.
Almost 3
in
months
the hospital.
we were in hospital.
Because she was in the...
She was in NICU,
The NICU.
so neonatal,
The neonatal
intensive care
unit.
units. So, and the situation was they didn't have beds for me to stay with her.
Okay.
So they were meant to keep me in hospital for 1 week. And what happened is, in the UK, there's different levels of hospitals. I was in a level 2 hospital.
Okay.
In a level 2 hospital, you can't keep a baby on a ventilator for more than 2 days. You have to move the baby to level 3.
Oh, okay.
So the situation was they didn't have any beds for me in the level 3 hospital. So they separated us. So they put her in an ambulance to go to the hospital. And I was still...
And you were still in the level 2
still
hospital?
in the level 2 hospital, recovering from my C-section. But I was so distraught. Like, I was inconsolable. So they said, look, we're going to have to discharge you early. We don't want to discharge you, but because you're just, I was like, I can't be without her. So they discharged me, and a midwife was coming to my house and stuff.
Okay.
So postpartum was very hard because I was in survival mode. Like, I feel like I'm still in survival mode, and she's almost 2. But because I didn't have that whole, you have your baby, you go home, you bond, I didn't have any of that. I think I did skin to skin after 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the situation. So they discharged me after 3 days because they felt sorry for me. And then as soon as they discharged me, I didn't even go home. I just went straight to the hospital so
Where
that
she
I
was?
can see her. Yes, I can see her. And then I was able to go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means for that almost 3-month period while she was there, you would have to go from home.
Exactly.
To the
I would get to
hospital
the
from
hospital 9 a.m. I'll leave at 8 p.m.
At
I would
8
be there the
p.m.?
whole day with her. And I'll walk around, and the midwives felt a bit sorry for me. Like, they would say, try to go home, try to rest. I said, I can't.
Right.
Because if I go home, I'll just cry. Because how can this be my first child and she's not even at home with me? She's in hospital and I'm there, I'm sleeping. I can't even sleep. I'm constantly calling to see if she's okay. And also, it's a very sad situation, but when a baby is very premature, they can pass away.
Yeah.
So there was also that in my mind, we were in a very sad situation where there was a baby that was having serious issues. All the time there was issues. So that was also playing on my mind, like, is she okay? I need to call. But we thank God that she was doing well. It's just her issue was that she was just very early.
Yeah.
But we were with babies that were sick. Not only were they early, they were very sick. She didn't have that. It was just prematurity. So that helped to calm me down. But still, it's in the back of your mind, you know.
It would still be playing in your mind.
Yeah.
Like anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So that's why I couldn't sleep well. Like, my life was on pause for those 3 months. It was just, my husband would drop me at the hospital because paternity leave is only 2 weeks.
Yeah, so he had to go back to work.
Go back to work. So he'll drop me at the hospital early in the morning. He'll pick me up after work. So I'll just be there the whole day.
So that couldn't have been easy. Just like you said, it was a stressful 3 months. You were in survival mode, and it extended even beyond the 3 months, like you're saying. How was feeding, though? How was feeding Cassandra during that period? What options did you have?
My breast milk came very late because of the stress.
Okay.
So I think after a week, I was able to produce colostrum. Until then, they had to give her donated breast milk because they said, because as a prem baby, they didn't want to give her formula. They said that she needs the
breast milk.
She needs the breast milk to get better. So that was very stressful as well because the doctors were putting pressure on me to produce milk because they were saying that my milk is her medicine. that she'll get better and grow quickly because of my milk. So I was there stressed, and they were like, look at a picture of her. I said, so I should look at this picture of a fetus for me to be producing milk. How can I? I was just thinking, you think I gave birth to one cute baby that's babbling? I gave birth to one tiny child. How can I? Every time I looked at the photo, I would cry.
Yeah, so it wasn't inspiring you to produce milk.
It wasn't inspiring me to
It was
produce milk.
actually making you more stressed.
It was making me sad. Yeah. Like, how is this fair on her? You know, so eventually, I don't know, I was just praying. I just got to the point where I was just praying I could do. And then eventually the colostrum came whilst I was with her. I was in the room and I noticed, oh, something's coming out. So that's when I finally, and it's so funny because it's like God bless me in excess. That's how I was just pumping milk left, right and center. Like their fridge and freezer was filled with my milk.
So
yes.
You went from trying to produce milk to now you have an oversupply.
Overflow of milk, just there. So we were even thinking of buying a deep freezer because of how much milk I was producing.
At that point, you could have even gone into donation.
That's what I was going to do.
For her initially.
I was going to do that. I was going to say, let me just donate milk. But in the end, we needed it because she went through my milk. But we'll get to that bit.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for the vulnerability. And of course, we're so thankful for Kesandu's life. Yes. I mean, she's a big girl now. So she's almost 2 this year. So we thank God for his protection over her life. Yeah. Clearly, he was with her. So we thank God for that.
Yes.
Now I want to get into
I'm not gonna lie, I was very upset with God because before getting pregnant, I used to pray. I said, God, when it's my time, I want a smooth pregnancy.
So you used to pray for a smooth pregnancy?
I used to pray for a smooth. I would even say full term. I said I want a full term baby. I don't want complications. I want to be low risk. So these were the specific prayers I was making even before pregnancy. Then when I was pregnant, I was praying over her. Then all of a sudden this happened. So I was very upset. But my sister-in-law said something interesting. She said, thank God, because whatever the devil planned has been cancelled.
That's right.
And then I was like, God, thank you. Because I understood that sometimes we want something because we think it is right. But the truth is, I don't know what would have happened if, you know what I mean? I think she was meant to come out at that time because she couldn't stay in for too long. And I don't know why. They tried to investigate what happened. They don't know what happened. They said that I had no issues. So that was one thing. Another thing, my best friend, she went on a pilgrimage to Israel during that time. And she sent me a video of her praying. And 6 hours later, I gave birth to Kesandu. And then I messaged her a few hours later saying, oh, this is what has happened. I had to give birth, blah, blah, blah. She messaged me back saying, Anne, watch that video. I watched the video. She was praying for my baby. Yeah. I don't want to get emotional. But yeah, she was praying that like everything would go well and that I'd have like, she would be fine. And then 5 hours later, I gave birth.
And you gave birth.
So
thank you so much, for Annie, for mentioning that. And the reason I particularly love that you mentioned that is that I think sometimes, right, as people of faith, we might go through moments when we get upset about the outcome of something, but we want to sometimes pretend that we're not upset. Or we pretend that maybe we're not a little bit, dealing with some anger. And many times we don't want to say that it's actually anger towards God that we're dealing with. But I think you have to name a thing to heal from it and to be able to get through that thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that your sister-in-law told you that, hey, in essence, God's ways are higher than our ways. He sees everything. So he knows everything and he knows all that took place. So in our limited understanding, right, we're upset that it didn't happen the way we wanted. But in trusting God's faithfulness and his goodness, we know that all things work for the good. They work for the good. Even the things that are bad, in quotes, they work for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that your friend sent you that video. I don't think it's any coincidence at all that, again, she was led to pray for you at that time while she was on pilgrimage in Israel. There are no coincidences. I don't believe in coincidence. So I think God's hand was in your situation, even when it didn't feel like it. One thing I want to mention about that is that, and this is just in my case now. So when I had my childbirth experience, right, with our daughter, Kadosh, so it was very traumatic. And it was nothing that, because we had been praying during pregnancy. we had been using prayers from a book called Supernatural Birth. And so we had been praying those prayers out. And I love that book. I will recommend it to anybody. So my experience doesn't deny that that book is a powerful book.
Yes.
So we had been praying, and then we had a traumatic experience. Again, I almost died in that theater, in that room. And I remember when I came out, I knew this is me, right? Because I always say to your own self, be true. So this was from my experience. When I came out, I was just thankful to God, right? But then also, I also felt a strong inclination from the Holy Spirit telling me that, but you know you are not really in faith. This was my own situation. So, because when I was pregnant, right, and I was telling my husband, and I was like, and we're talking about reading the book, Supernatural Birth. So he had told me already that you don't build faith. This is just my story. You don't build faith when you're in need of faith. You're supposed to be living a lifestyle of faith already, so that when you need to activate that faith for something, it's already there. You have a track record. But me, I wasn't a serious believing person at the time. So I was just like, okay, yeah, let's be saying this supernatural childbirth affirmations. We're saying it. But I knew, this is me, I knew my faith was not where it needed to be. So when my own situation happened, literally all I could say was, God, thank you, mercy. Thank you for your mercy, because I know my faith wasn't where it was supposed to be. So I just love that your sister-in-law also told you that, you know what, we just don't know all the things behind the scenes. Let's just say thank God first that the children are here and that they are healthy, even though it was a tough situation. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really, really appreciate you for sharing that. I think it will help a lot of people listening that might have gone through something similar. Yeah, so thank you. Okay, so let's go into the other side of the postpartum experience. We've talked about breastfeeding and feeding. We've talked about struggling and wrestling with faith and feelings of upset and anger. Then let's also talk about your mental health. How was that during this period? And support systems. Did you have support systems? What was that experience like?
I didn't have support systems.
Okay, you didn't have support systems.
I didn't have. So the situation is, I'm from London. I grew up in London. That's where my family and friends are. But me and my husband, we live in Manchester.
Okay.
So it's away from all
so
support.
How far is
That's a 5-hour drive, 2-hour train ride.
Okay.
So London is south of England, Manchester's north.
Okay.
So we didn't have family around. We had friends that came to visit, but we didn't do, is it called Omugu?
Omugu, yes.
We didn't do that. We didn't
when
have
your mom comes in for a few, or your
Yes.
parents or somebody comes in for a few months.
We didn't do it. It was just me and him managing. So eventually she came home after that period, and I don't even know how we did it. I think the situation was I was just in survival mode. So my mindset was, with or without help, I just need to make sure she's okay. So I was already very on it. And I think him as well, he was similar.
Okay. Your husband?
Yes, he was very similar as well. He was also in that mode of, okay, what is it that she needs? Let's just make sure she has everything she needs. So that's what we did. So our fridge and freezer was filled with milk. And this girl, she came home hungry because she finished all my breast milk. And she even drained my breast. I stopped producing milk afterwards.
Because somebody needed to eat.
She wanted to eat. Honestly, I would feed her on one, she would drain it. I'd now feed her on the other one, she'd drain it. She would have the effrontery to cry for more milk whilst I'm there fighting for my life. And then it got to one point where, in the end, she just finished the milk and she was crying, and I felt bad. So then we just put her on formula. So we started giving her more formula. That's how my milk just started to dry out. And then after 6 months, I couldn't produce anymore.
Okay.
So that was the situation. But yeah, mentally, so that was us. We just managed to do it by ourselves.
Kudos to you. Let me just say that. Kudos to you.
Thank you. We worked in shifts. So I would be with her during the night. From 5 a.m. he will take over. He'll be with her until 9 a.m. Then I will take over.
Okay.
So that I could get sleep, because I was so sleep deprived to the point where I think I was seeing things. Because also I was breastfeeding her during the night, and she'd wake up in 30 minutes wanting more milk.
Okay.
Every 30 minutes I was waking up to feed her.
Okay.
So then it got to the point where milk that I had expressed, I would just put it in a bottle and feed her, and then she'd sleep longer. Because when she's breastfeeding, she'll fall asleep because it's comfortable and it's warm. But with the bottle, she's not falling asleep. She's just there to drink.
So she would sleep longer when she took your milk from the bottle versus from the breast.
Because she would be fuller.
Okay.
So that's how we would do it. And then I'm trying to see what other tactics we did. I was on maternity leave as well, so that was also helpful. So yeah, I would just do everything that she needed.
Okay.
Yes.
And talking about maternity leave, what is that like in the UK? How long do they give you for that?
So they can give you up to 1 year.
Up to 1 year.
However, the last 3 months is not paid.
Okay, so 9 months
Exactly.
paid maternity leave.
Yes.
The last 3 months you can take it, but it's
Yes.
unpaid. Okay.
So the first 3 months of your maternity leave, you receive 90% of your salary.
The first 3 months.
The first 3 months. After that, you receive statutory maternity pay, which is what the government pays.
Okay.
But I don't even know which kind of money we got. Like,
so it's not close to your
it's
salary.
nothing.
Okay.
It was not.
Okay.
It was nothing at all. Anyways, it's something, but it was nothing.
Yeah, but not much.
It wasn't much. So, so in the end, I even wanted to go back to work earlier because I was like, we didn't save properly for this child. But anyways, we just have to be grateful because some countries, they don't even give you anything. I know our friends in America, it's 2 weeks that they have, then they're already going back to work.
Is it 2 weeks?
It's 3 weeks.
Wow, okay.
Then they're already going back to work. Wow. So at least it's something. But yes, I had that time and I spent it with her. But mentally, I was in survival mode. And it's so interesting because people talk about postnatal depression. I didn't even have time to be depressed. I was just like so focused on keeping her alive and well because of my experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's hard to snap out of that mindset of this is a baby as opposed to this is a premature baby. I kept on looking at her as a premature baby that's very fragile. Okay. As opposed to, okay, she's better now. She's resilient. She's a baby. Yeah. So every small thing, she'll cough, my heart will start racing. Yeah. She would choke a lot on milk. My heart, you know, I would panic. And then, you know, nurses would visit me and they said, you know, we think you should do therapy. I think you're experiencing like trauma. I said to them, I don't have time to do therapy. I don't have time to be depressed. I don't have time to do therapy. It is survival that I'm in. Let me first get through survival mode and I'll consider all this trauma therapy that you guys are referring to me. But until then, please, let me just manage. So that's how I've just been managing since.
Wow. And it's interesting that you said that. Like, you said, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just funny the way you said that. You said, I don't have time. But yeah, you were in survival mode. Yes. So it was a different experience, different situation. You literally, like you said, felt like you just had to survive and had to ensure that Kesandu survived. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Is there anything else from the postpartum experience that stands out to you that you either wish you had known differently before, maybe you'd have done something different, or a lesson you learned from postpartum, or something you even regret?
I think the only thing, I don't even know if this is good advice, but one thing I didn't do, you know all these mum groups, Mum's Net, Mums, whatever. I stayed far away from them.
I'm laughing because you know I'm in some of them. That's why I'm laughing.
Sometimes I say the biggest problem of a new mum is other mums. Because what can happen is they'll be like, my child is 8 months and they're walking. Is your child walking? Your child isn't walking. You should get it checked out. You know, it might be autism. I think your child has ADHD. I don't think that's
those milestones that,
I stayed far away from all of that. I did baby massage. So what happens in the UK, there's a couple of charities that help with premature babies. So there was 2 that was supporting me and they used to do baby massage for free. Okay. So I would do baby massage and meet other mums as well. That was nice. And
but those online groups, you are like, no.
I stayed away. So my advice, I don't know if it's good advice. I wouldn't say stay away completely. Everyone is different. Some people, they like that community stuff. With me, I don't like pressure. And I don't like, you know, it's okay to use milestones as a guide. But when it's to the point where you're now diagnosing other people's child, we're in a time where everything is autism and ADHD. If your child coughs a certain way, one mum is telling you that your child might be on the spectrum. I don't like that. And I think that's what's happening. I think, you know, social media, the internet, everyone is ADHD now. Everyone is self-diagnosing themselves and telling them to go to the doctor and tell them their symptoms. They're self-diagnosing themselves. And I'm seeing a lot of that when it comes to mums. They're doing that to other people's children. And with me, I'm Ruth. I will tell you point blank.
No, thank you so much, Annie. Thank you, first of all, for saying that. And I think it's important that you mentioned this because, like I said, I'm in a couple of groups, right? And the truth is that I think the community element of those groups is fantastic. I think there are some of those groups where the community element is so strong and you just feel like people are on the journey of mothering with you. However, I've also been in other groups that I had to stay away from because of exactly what you're saying, which is a sense of unwarranted pressure, like pressure from where? But pressure from, oh, maybe my child is doing this by, like you said, 8 months. Oh, your child, don't worry, definitely they'll be doing this by this month. So, and like you said, all this self-diagnosis, okay, next thing you're seeing people talk about autism all over the place, ADHD, like you said, different diagnoses. And again, I think as human beings, I think that we assume that what's the word for this? I think we assume that we're more foolproof or bulletproof than we really are. Or there's a word for this, that's not the best word. But my point is that I don't think we account for how much what people say actually plants seeds in our minds and how we end up believing certain things about our families or our children or whatever, right? So I do think that if you're in a space where they are constantly talking about, oh, is this autism? Is this ADHD? Oh, your child should be talking by this age, should be walking by this age. That if your child isn't on this specific guideline or milestone list, then you'll probably begin to panic. You'll begin to worry because in your mind, I mean, this is the normal thing. And if this normal thing is not being met, then we have a problem. But that doesn't give into account the fact that every child is unique. All children have their own development milestones and it doesn't always match up with a guideline. It doesn't mean that it is bad. It doesn't mean that they won't develop well. It just means that they are on their own pace. But if you don't have that type of messaging, then you will believe that something is wrong with your children when they are 6 months and they're not crawling.
Exactly.
Or you start thinking, oh, well, what's going on? Is everything okay? So all this unwarranted pressure, like you said. So I think we have to just be careful, in essence, to what we listen to what we engage. And just like you said, if somebody knows that there's pressure happening and they can't deal with that pressure, step out. Step out of that place until you can deal with it, or if it's not for you, it's not for you. So I love that you shared that.
Yeah, and of course, if you are concerned, just go to a professional, please.
There we go. If you really are that concerned, please go to a hospital. But don't let the opinions of people put unnecessary fear and stress on you, especially if your child is probably just developing in their own time, which may not match another child's time. So. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think that's a big thing that I'm also noticing a lot in online discussions and stuff like that. So I love that you touched on it. And I hope that will help and bless some women that are listening, some moms that are listening to, who might be anxiety-ridden.
Yes.
Okay. So anything else about postpartum that you want us to know?
It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. Okay, so please expand on that.
What I mean by that is, you know, we have this mentality of, I can't complain because I'm grateful I even have a child. There are people that don't have children, right?
Okay.
But motherhood is hard. It's hard. Like, I think people don't actually realize how it takes a toll on you physically. Till today, I have a belly. I have my mum's pouch.
Bellies unite.
I've always had a bit of a belly, but after having my C-section, it's very prominent. Like, my body's not the same. Mentally, the chemicals in our brain shift when we have a child. That's why we're more susceptible to postnatal depression because of the endorphins or whatever they reduce. So we're more unhappy. Like, our body changes, our mental health changes, you know, and it's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel down. You don't need to do toxic positivity where you're like, no, I'm even grateful that I'm a mum. There are people that are not mums. I'm a mum. I'm grateful. If you're struggling, seek help. Seek help from people who are empathetic, please. May God bless our mothers. But some of our mums, they don't know what empathy means. You know what I mean? Some of our mums, they believe, or some of our aunties or our elders, they think, and you'll be fine now. Women have been giving birth since. Are you the first? Are you the first to give birth? But no, you're the first person in your life to give birth.
In your own experience.
In your own experience to give birth. So if you're struggling, get help. You don't need to struggle in silence. You're not weak. If you're feeling sad, if you experience postnatal depression, you're not weak. If you have a C-section, you're not weak. You know, there's this whole, when people say to me, did you have a natural birth? I correct them. I said, what do you mean by natural? As long as my child came out of my body, it is a natural birth. Do you mean vaginal? Do you mean... I do that so that they're aware. Because this is the language that makes women feel less. Women that have C-sections, you know, natural birth. Okay, so that means my birth wasn't natural. So that means I'm lazy. So that means I took the shortcut, but you didn't.
The stigmas attached sometimes
it's the stigma
in people's
attached.
minds to C-sections. Okay.
Yes. So just, you know, if you're struggling, seek help. And it's okay, like, for example, people struggle to breastfeed. There are some people where their milk doesn't come, you know. So if you're one of those mums where you're struggling to breastfeed, my milk didn't come for
Initially,
like a week. So it's, you know, it's not a bad thing if you put your child on formula. It doesn't mean you failed, you know. So I think language is important. There was one mum that said that her husband used to say, when she would pump milk, he used to give the milk to the baby and say, oh, the milk isn't enough. And it used to trigger her. So one day she said to her husband, don't say that the milk is not enough, because when you say it's not enough, you're saying that I'm not enough. That, you know, I'm not enough, and that's why my milk is not, like, that's how she interpreted it.
That's how she saw it and received it.
Yes, I think even changing language can help as well.
So being more intentional in language.
More intentional in language, and also refraining from phrases that has stigma attached to it. So things like natural birth, things like, you know, it can be hard because we're Nigerians, and you know us Nigerians, we have thick skin. So some people will be saying, you're too soft now. This Achegbulu girl, she's there saying language, this and that. But it's important because this is, you know, if the mum is not okay, the baby will not be okay. So it's just, yeah, I think that's my two main advice.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So again, I like that you touched upon the stigma sometimes that people have around C-section births, which I didn't even know that was a thing until I got pregnant. And I was asking some of my mom friends and different moms I know, like their birth experiences. And I noticed that maybe one or two were a little uncomfortable talking about having a C-section. And I didn't even know there was a stigma around it. I was like, oh, I mean, you gave birth. The child is out, you're fine, all good. But that means that there must have been something they heard, some kind of narrative that they received, maybe from those that they even know, right? That maybe there was something less about them, possibly. So thank you for touching on that. I think it's really important that we do begin to care more about how we speak about things. It doesn't mean we'll always get it right. I mean, we're human beings. Even I, for example, the natural one, right? I think even my episode of this podcast, I said natural. I think I put in the title, like, my natural birth story. So that's even the language I have for it. But I love that you also brought in the perspective that somebody else who had a different, like a non-vaginal experience, who maybe had a C-section, right, might see that and it might be painful or it might make them feel less than. It's just good to know these things. It doesn't mean we'll become perfect overnight, but it does mean that we can become more intentional moving forward. So thank you so much for sharing that. Even the part about breast milk not coming out on time, it happens. And yeah, so I think we also, like you said, have to become okay with the fact that sometimes things are not necessarily as they should be, but then we can now do our best to do something about it. So like you said, at least acknowledge that there's an issue, right? If you're not okay, you're not okay. Don't pretend that you're okay when you're not. Acknowledge it so that you can actually deal with it and heal where you need to get healing. For things like postpartum depression or, which I didn't have that, but I definitely had postpartum anxiety. I had that one for many, many months, if not up to a year. And that's the difference is, and the anxiety part is where you feel like something is going to harm your child and you're constantly concerned. So I had that a lot. And I'd be in my bathroom trying to take a shower and I'd be thinking that something was going to happen to Kadosh, but she was fine, she was sleeping. So that was one that was really a big experience for me. But I had to acknowledge it. Why? Because then I knew that I could do something about it. So I started now praying and speaking scripture over that situation. So I would be in the bathroom and I'd be saying, God didn't give me the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. And I'd keep saying it until I believed it. So I would keep saying it over and over because I knew that I had to do something. But if you don't acknowledge you have an issue, then you won't even do anything about the issue and it will just keep growing and blowing up. So thank you for that. I think it's important people know if you're not okay, accept that you're not feeling okay. Deal with it. Like now, once you know what is going on, you can actually take steps towards helping that situation and healing and getting healing when you need it. So yeah, thank you for that. Okay. So in looking back from conception into pregnancy, into childbirth, into postpartum, is there one or two best practices that you would like us to keep in mind? As we're wrapping up now, like either one or two best practices in any of those phases that stands out to you like, this is something definitely to keep in mind for the next time around.
What can I think of? Okay, first thing, please exercise. It's important. Even if it means walking, yoga, whatever it is.
I didn't get the memo. I was practically just sitting down the whole time.
Excellent. Honestly, I know everyone says this, but take it from both of us. If you exercise, your pregnancy, it won't be as hard as it could be. It doesn't have to be that you're running. It can be walking, it can be yoga, it can be swimming. Swimming is very good.
Oh, swimming is good.
It's very good for pregnancy. I tried swimming, then I was getting too tired, so I stopped. But I think healthy lifestyle is very, very important. Eat healthy. This whole thing of eating for two is a myth. I hope people know that it doesn't exist. Please, eat for one.
Eat for one. That one, they will take it.
Exactly.
Take it, so
you don't
worry.
need to eat for two. So yeah, practice a healthy lifestyle is important. And I don't know who your audience is, but obviously we're Christians, right?
Yes.
So I really do believe in faith. I really do believe in praying. So I think really using your faith it till you make it.
Literally put your faith to work.
Put your faith to work. So be very specific. Sometimes our prayer is, oh God, I pray that I have a healthy baby. No, you have to be very specific. I mean, I tried to be specific and God answered it in one way, but be very specific in what you want. So you want if it's that you don't want any complications or whatever, like just use your faith and pray. I recommend surrounding yourself around people that are positive. Like I believe in energies. I believe people's energy can affect you. So if someone is looking at your bump and they're saying, your bump, it looks a bit funny. That's something that can start to affect you and you'll start to be looking at yourself.
You can plant a seed.
It can plant a seed of doubt. It can plant a seed of fear. So I think surrounding yourself with positivity. One thing I didn't do as well. I didn't listen to trauma stories. I didn't. I can be an anxious person.
Okay.
I didn't want
you knew that would be an issue.
I knew that would be an issue. So anything around miscarriage, anything around stillbirth, anything I didn't listen to it. I blocked it out. I'm aware that it can happen, but in Jesus' name, it's not my portion. I pray that God will help whoever it happened to. I blocked it out. I had to do it. I have to be radical. I think you have to know the type of person you are. I don't want to confess negativity, but I have traits of being very anxious, and I have traits of allowing a seed to be sown in my life that will make me scared.
So you had to take
I had
boundaries,
to be
like
very
put boundaries
radical, and I would block out everything that didn't go to plan, and I would focus on positive birth stories only, and I would pray that into my life.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So you were very intentional.
You have
this
to
is
be.
the kind of outcome I'm going for. Why would I surround myself with stories that are against this outcome? And like you said, you know yourself. So you knew that you had a tendency for anxious thoughts.
Yes.
So you had to do certain things to protect yourself and your baby at the time in your womb. Thank you so much, Annie. It's been a pleasure. So we're wrapping up. We're pretty much done. All I'm going to ask you now are a few rapid fire questions. So these are like just nice, fun questions. Just whatever answer comes to your mind immediately. It's like a this or that situation for most of them. You just respond.
Okay.
So let me pull out my phone and let
me get myself ready.
Super quick. All right. So we have texting or talking. Which one do you prefer?
Talking.
Talking. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. You don't even need to finish that one, please. Chocolate or chocolate?
Chocolate or chocolate? Beach vacation or hiking trip?
Beach, please.
Please, I'm coming
hiking
with you.
For
what are we hiking for? Like, why must we do it to ourselves? Okay, I know people like hiking, sorry. Then favorite childhood movie?
Oh my goodness. I don't want to say Home Alone. That's boring. Matilda. I really liked Matilda. I used to wish I was that chubby boy that ate the cake.
I was going to say, like, there's a cake scene, that boy eating the chocolate cake.
I wished I was him.
That's why you like Matilda?
That's why I like Matilda.
A sound you love?
Oh, I love the sound of birds early in the morning.
Okay.
I'm like really into nature. That's another way I connect with God. So like when I wake up early in the morning and I hear the birds, I'm just like, oh gosh.
It makes you happy.
It makes me happy. It gives me so much peace.
Okay, I like that. One thing that always makes you laugh?
Oh gosh. I'm even laughing now. Okay, so what makes me laugh is like the first time my daughter laughed because it was so cute. And it was so unexpected. And we were also like, why does she laugh like that? Like, who did she get that laugh from?
So it's like a very hearty laugh.
It's a very...
like very rich laugh.
It's like from the depth of your stomach. That's the way she laughs. And that always makes me laugh.
I like it. I think in a way, maybe she's even laughing at her NICU experience. Like, people thought it was, I've passed there.
Exactly. Yeah. So that always makes me laugh when I think of it.
Okay. So one thing you do for fun and self-care?
Oh, I like writing.
Okay.
I write romance fiction novels. I have like 2 manuscripts. I don't know what I'm doing with it. So my husband always makes fun of me. He's like, so when are you publishing this? Who are you writing it for? I said, I don't know. It just gives me peace. I like writing. So that's what I do for fun.
Nice, nice. And one word that describes motherhood to you?
Surreal.
Surreal.
It's a surreal experience. It's a mix of spiritual. It's a mix of physical. It's very supernatural. I know that book you're talking about. It's very supernatural because for you to grow life inside of you, you know. Anyways, this might be a bit too deep, but we had a conversation around a specific subject that was going on in America.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
And I remember telling you...
Off camera.
Yeah.
Off camera.
And I remember telling you that I used to have one mindset. And then I did my scan. I had to have an emergency scan. And I saw her arm move. And I said to them, is that her arm moving? She was only 10 weeks. And I remember just looking at her and I was like, gosh, this person has life inside of them. And that switched my mindset of a particular subject. And that's when I realized how spiritual this thing is. Like, you know, and I know this is rapid fire. This is our problem.
Don't worry, we've extended our rapid fire small.
But one thing I believe in, I believe in generational trauma. I believe trauma is a biological, physical thing that you can pass down to your child. Because trauma shifts your brain chemicals, it shifts your body. That's why a lot of us Black women, we have chronic illnesses because of trauma that's been passed down. So because I believe pregnancy and birthing is very spiritual and physical, I was very intentional on asking myself, is there any trauma that I'm still dealing with? And what can I do to release it? Because I don't want to pass it down to her. So that's what I mean by it's a very surreal experience because you have the supernatural, you have the physical because you're physically birthing your child. The spiritual is that you're growing life inside of you. And then obviously if you're now dealing with whatever you're dealing with, whatever traumas you're dealing with, you run the risk of passing that down to your child. So
if you don't address it.
If you don't address it. So you either go physical or spiritual. Me, I did 2. I did spiritual prayer, I did physical, which was therapy. I wasn't enjoying therapy. So then I started writing. And writing is my therapy. I love writing. But I just realized, you know, doing that, it helped me. And then even when I had my daughter, I said to my sister, I became very brave. Because before I was never really, when I was a child, I was a timid person. And as an adult, I still had that traces of timidity. But because I became converted, I really received like a boldness from the Holy Spirit. So I wasn't very timid anymore. But I still had traits of it. And then I was just looking at this baby. I said, for you, I will be brave. Like for you, I'll be everything that I'm not. Because I want to teach you that in this life, you have to be brave. You have to be bold. You have to be confident. So and that was because of her. Wow. So that was a spiritual and a physical change of, I need to toughen up. I need to be bold and courageous for this child so that she knows what it means to be brave and to be confident and, you know, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So you see, Cassandra brought out the bold mama bear.
She did. Fully, through and through. This girl.
Thank you. And then the last question in the so-called rapid fire. The last question is, what is one thing you would like Cassandra to say about you when she grows up?
Gosh, I want her to say that I tried, because I really tried. Yeah. Like, I'm really, you know, I'm not perfect. And I always tell her that I'm not perfect. But one thing, like, you know, Cassandra did change my life. It changed my perspective on life, you know, and I just hope she knows that I tried. I tried my best. I did work on myself, things that I had learned from my own childhood that wasn't good. I let it go. You know, I again, tried to get rid of some trauma so it doesn't get passed down to her. Things with the way I talk, you know, language that I use, You know, I think we had one conversation when we last saw each other, which was, you know, I don't go to church that much. I have a bit of a situation, but for my daughter, I will go so that she so that she knows the importance of, you know, being in a good environment. So I hope she sees that my mum tried. She tried to be an example, because sometimes you say things to your child, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, and they see that you're doing the opposite. So if I'm telling her, you should live a certain lifestyle, I want her to see that in me, you know. So that's why things like going to church. I'm trying.
So you're now one of us.
I'm now one of you. I used to be one of you, and then something happened, and I distanced myself. But now for my child, I will try.
And I think she's going to say that. She's going to say that
so.
You tried.
I really do.
Tried. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Annie. It's been such a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching, guys and gals. Thank you so much for watching. We've had a fantastic episode with Annie. I hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something, please drop a comment, let us know. And please share this episode with at least 5 women in your network. 5 women. Let them watch, let them learn, and let them also take something from this that they can use in their own motherhood journey, whether they've become moms or not. All right, so thank you. Until the next episode, bye for now. Thank you.